Welcome to the Father Notes podcast, and I am your host, Warren W. Patten Jr., or you can call me Father Patten. Father Notes is an informational style podcast created to give fathers a voice in their family structure. I encourage fathers to take back fatherhood and shake the trees of tradition to create a stronger family unit. We'll also delve into men's health, leadership, mentorship, and so much more. Okay, men, it's time to be a better father on purpose. Hello, fathers. Welcome back to the Father Notes podcast. And this is episode 7. But I must go back. Episode 6 was the bomb. Yes, it was a recap of all the first 5 episodes, and you got to go back and see it. You got to go back and see each one, listen to them, and you can also see them on YouTube and Facebook. But I think I'm hitting on some incredible things to help fathers be better on purpose. So thank you once again for joining. This is episode 7, and I'm hoping it'll catch fire. I hope more and more people will share with other fathers so that they can come along. I don't say I'm an expert. I have 5 sons, so I think I've done a lot of things right. But I don't think there's enough information out there for fathers to follow. And I thought I would jump in and say, hey, we deserve more support. Fathers deserve to have a voice. And you know all of my cliches that I've come up with. You might hear a few of them on this episode. So come on in, here we go. Now, this episode is a tough one for me. Well, it's easy for me, but it's a tough one to talk about because a lot of people will not like this episode for various reasons. But that's the reason I'm doing it. I'm telling you right now, that is the reason I wanted to do it. I planned this episode a long time ago. I had to really kind of formulate it as much as I could, but I think I got it to where it needs to be. Now, there may be a part 2 on taming the tongue. Let me see if I can say it right. Taming the tongue. Oh, it's going to be juicy. Yes, it is. Now, I'm going to start with you in my book, of course, Father Notes, Being a Better Father on Purpose, on page 22. Join me if you have your copy. Now, if you don't have your copy, you have to get an author-signed copy from yours truly, the author. The only way you can get this book now is by going to my website, www.warrenwpattenjr.com. Go to the store tab, and then you can order this book. It'll come to me. Yes, it will. And I will send you an author-signed copy of this book. It's no longer available on Amazon or Barnes & Noble, but I have quite a few copies here with me. So the only way you can get your copy of Father Notes, Being a Better Father on Purpose, order it directly from me. That's my public service announcement for this episode. There's going to be more, of course. But let's go and get right into taming the tongue. But I'm going to read straight from the book. This is where I started out in Father Notes. Of course, I said, action speaks louder than words. So that's what they say. Now, remember, your words can destroy relationships. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Not true. I tell you this. People use words to really hurt others. And I really wish we would stop doing that. We have to have a little bit more grace. I'd say we need to have a little bit more of God's grace. I'm going to pause on that because I know that's going to be tough. Now I'm not going to preach. Well, I might a little bit, but I'm not a preacher. I believe I am a teacher, though. I am a teacher, and sometimes I will preach in order to get the point across. But let's just keep on going. Now, I say, Father, can you tame your tongue? Father, Can you control your tongue? Hmm. Father, what kind of example are you setting for your family? Those are three key questions every father should ask themselves. Now, I know our environment that we were brought up in has us being a certain way, but the theme of Father Notes, the podcast, is we have to shake the trees of tradition. Oh, I love that. Shake the trees of tradition and start some new traditions. And that's what I did in my home. But before I even started in my home, I started it years ago. I'm going to come back to that because I want to get to the meat of this episode right now. Words are frequently used as weapons. Weapons. And they create many levels of harm. Now, people can throw around some evil words. When they lose control, they get angry, they get mad. Ooh, the words that they have flying around, it's scary. My virgin ears, I can't take it, I tell you. But I think it's with the intent to hurt. How does the devil get so much attention? Oh, goodness. And it's amazing how I use the term weapons. They use words as weapons. Don't you know people do not run out of ammunition? Boy, they are loaded with ugly words to toss around. When is that going to stop? Mm. It is difficult to say the right thing. It's difficult to say nice things, good things, positive things. You have to work really hard on it just because of the nature of our world. It's so easy to curse. It's so easy to talk down on someone. It's so easy. But life is not easy. Why do we keep defaulting to the easy way out and call someone out of their name to hurt them? Yes, that's right. That's right. Let's go deeper. Words are used to hurt, to manipulate, to dismiss, to control, to punish, oh boy, to disrespect, and to overpower another human being. That's a lot of information, but it's what we do. As humans, we are so bound in controlling someone else, and we need those words to do it. We have to find a way, Father, to stop the madness. That's why I always say, Father, make the choice to use your voice, and Father, set the tone in your home. Now, what kind of example are you setting? Now, we're going to stay on this topic, but this is the part where it really gets into my heart. I want to show you a picture. Look closely now. I'm going to bring it up for you. It's coming. Oh, there it is. Bam! There it is. Children are innocent. They don't have a choice of which family to grow up with. They don't have a choice of parents. And sometimes when they do have a choice, words are used to put them back into a certain box. And what you see on the screen sometimes happens. And parents, grown folks, don't always understand, or they don't want to understand the effect that those words have on children. Some of the things on this image are: we call children dumb, stupid, silly, bad boy, bad girl, lazy. Then we start adding on: lazy bum, bucket head. I know sometimes we're just joking, but how does it affect your child? At some point, we got to come up with some better words. It's unfortunate that the young and innocent children are sometimes victims in their own home with parents that crush them with words, and then ignore their feelings and emotions, and then wonder, how does that manifest with those children outside of the home? Oh boy, I'm pushing some buttons now, but that's okay. How are we surprised when a child knows very well how to use all of that bad language when they go to school? Where did they get it from? The parents. And sometimes it's not the parents, it's the kin folks that the parents allow in the home. I'm going to tell you, I made the choice a long time ago that I was going to not use profanity. And I have a good reason. My mother, she could, woo, but I'm not here to bash my mother. That's the environment she was brought up in, and that's what she used. But as a child, I did not like it. And I made the decision early on, I was not going to use profanity. But I also made that promise with my wife for our family. And I was hoping that she would join in on this crusade. And she did. But it's not easy. There may have been times it slipped for her, but I have been practicing a long time. It does not slip with me. I'm not saying I'm high and mighty. I'm just saying early on, I practiced it. I did not want to use it. And if you don't use it, they can't slip out. I had people challenging me at work. Well, when you get this job, I know you're going to be cussing in no time. No, I'm not going to let these people upset me. That's the bottom line. There's got to be a better way. It's got to be an easier way. Oh, it was tough. Sometimes I ran to the cooler, freezer, and I wanted to cuss because no one could hear me. But I said, no, that would be breaking my rule, my integrity. So I said some other words. Abbott John Brown. I learned it from my 8th grade teacher. Don't I know it's weird, but that was my curse word, Abbott John Brown. It was just as powerful. Now, Father, in your home, watch what you say and how you say it. Father, you have to listen closely to the mother. Watch what she says and how she says it. You might have to take corrective action without attacking the mother, because you know you'll be tops on the list to get cussed out. You got to be able to navigate that. But that's all a part of planning your future together. What are the ground rules? That's where it all comes in. Now, I'm not saying it can't change once you get into the relationship. It can. But if you start out discussing those things, it makes it so much better. All right, I'm going to take this picture off right quick. Stop sharing. There I am. Bam, right back at you one more time. Now, I often ask myself, where are the positive words? Where are the good words? Where are the uplifting words that parents should say to their students? I mean, to their children. My wife was a teacher. I was a teacher. Hey, sometimes we had to say students. But where are the positive words? I know we get upset about a lot of things, but sometimes we have to power them in a different direction, not always in the beat down. Not always in the beat down. We got to lift our children up, especially fathers, our sons. Crucial that we use positive words to bring them into their integrity. It can't all be negative. Now, think about that. Every time you open your mouth, how is this going to affect my son and my daughter? Not just that, you have to accept the example for the mother too. It can be done. It can be done. But here's the rub. Woo-hoo-hoo. With all that work I did with my wife, with the mother of my children, no profanity in the home. More positive language, because I'm Mr. Positive. More positive language. We worked on it. We did it. I am proud of the progress my wife and I made when it came down to none of that crazy talk in the house, no profanity. Now there may have been times when we got frustrated with our son. Look at here, you little big head rascal. Those things do come out so very quickly. But when you are aware of it, you can stop yourself. You will think twice before you say something like that. That's why in one of my episodes, I say family identity. Use their names. Don't always call them something that may not be their name. If you practice using their names, then the positivity is already there. Let me say that again. That's a good one. If you practice using their names, the positive is already there. But if you don't use their names, you're going to come up with some negative stuff. No one says, hey, good little boy, put that down. Never happens. Now you might hear something, peanut head. You've heard that. I've probably been called that myself. But start with the name, family identity. Let's switch gears just a little bit because it is a war out there. Social media. Ooh. Social media is powerful, strong, super influence for children and adults. So I knew early on social media is stronger than me. The influence is stronger. There's so much profanity in social media, so many shortcut words, WTF. Oh my goodness. When I said that, I feel like I'm using profanity. So I don't use that. I just had to say it so you could see my response, my reaction to saying it. Because that's just like cursing to me. So there are so many acronyms, so many short versions, abbreviated versions, full-on words. Boy, the MF words gets used. Ooh, never. So many four-letter words. All this foul language and obscenities does not need to be in the home. It does not. It's so much of it out there. You have to prepare your children to have some kind of vocabulary where they won't default to all of that bad language and the negativity. Now we've gotten this far. Let me share with you my journey when I say I did not want to use profanity. Yes, my mother, she could cuss. I don't know where she learned it from, must have been her mother. But because I think my grandfather did not use all that bad language. She told me that. So as a little child, I used to cringe when mama used the language. And it was mostly with friends on the phone, her talking to her girlfriends on the phone. But then, we got a little bit older and we started doing children things and she started cussing us, of course. And I'm the oldest of the five. So, of course, became a teenager quicker, doing some things I had no business. Nothing really bad, but, some things. And I just vowed I would not use language, that bad language. Now, I probably said my last profanity word, and my brothers and sisters never let me forget, was probably 7 or 8 years old. Yep. I said the SHIT word. Can you believe I said that? But that was a wake-up call for me because let me explain. We were living on this street and it was 5 of us and the other kids wanted to come over to our house and play, but my mother was not at home yet. She hadn't come home. So we couldn't let anyone in, but some kind of way they got in the house. And they started playing with my sisters and brothers, but me being the big brother, I had to get them out of the house. So I'm chasing them out of the house. I did not know that the back door was open and the front door was open, and I was running around like a crazy person. Now I'm thinking, I've lost control of the home. I got my sisters and brothers running through the house, neighbors, children running through the house. I'm supposed to have the doors locked and protecting my brothers and sisters, and they're having a ball. But I'm upset and mad. I can't get anyone to listen to me. Everybody's giggling and running. I'm like, and I mess around. I said, and I'm thinking the neighbors are going to tell. And they are. Back in the day, the neighbors saw everything. They told everything. So I stopped and said, I'm getting sick of this. Boom. I said that 4-letter word. Don't you know everyone stopped in their tracks because they had never heard me curse? Never. But when I said that, it was over. They stopped playing. My brothers and sisters and the children from the neighborhood. This is what they're saying. Ooh, Warren, you said a bad word. And I'm like, y'all need to quit doing what you don't never say nothing bad. I said, stop and y'all go back in the house and y'all get away from our house. I'm gonna tell mama. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm the big brother. You can't tell on me. But the neighbor kids say, I'm gonna tell your mama. What? That was when I knew I never cursed. But that one time I did, it was earth shattering. I learned a valuable lesson even then. Even though it stopped the activity that was going on, they expected better from me. At 7 or 8 years old, they expected better of me. And I expected better. So at that point, that was going to be my last curse word. It's going to be the last time. And that was the last time. I cannot remember. That's the only word that comes to mind, the last word I said in life. I'm not going to even tell you how old I am now. And I've lived a life. But I just was determined not to use any profanity. Now, on top of that, I used to ask my mother as a child, probably starting to be a teen, to stop cursing. Yeah, I was bold, crazy, and bold. I said, Mother, please stop using that profanity. Please stop cussing at us. You know she was not happy. She slapped me a few times. I think she slapped me into next week one time, and I was sitting on the porch by myself already on Saturday, and it was Saturday the week before, and I had to wait for time to catch up. You don't understand. They would say, "Where's Warren?" I was already next Saturday. She hit me one time so hard, I didn't even see the lick like Muhammad Ali. I said, Mama, quit all that cussing. Pow! I was in a time warp. But when I got back, when the world caught up with me, I was right there again, Mama. Stop cursing. Please stop using that bad language. And I think after a while, she thought about it and she slowed down. I'm not going to say she stopped now. Come on. But she slowed down, especially some of those big words. I couldn't take that. But that was my standard. And she knew I did not like that. I'm your son. I don't like that kind of language, mother. And it was not necessary. The great thing about it, my stepfather didn't use a lot. Now, he was a man of few words, so he didn't really have a reason to curse. But my mother, she did. But I expected better of her. And I think that's where she realized it. So that was my thing. So when it came time for me to start a family with my wife, and we had the discussion about no profanity, I think she already knew that when she met me in college. When we were dating, we were talking about that then. She probably even asked me, "You don't use no curse words?" No, never have, never will. So now, I don't know how that set with her, but I think she was okay with that. And she joined in. I did not have to stop and correct her on her language, but she was willing to follow my lead. Let me look over here and let me look over there. She was willing to follow my lead. See, that's a united front right there. That's a united front. Now, as you develop your purpose for being a father, consider how morals, respect, character, integrity, and politeness looks like in your family. When the words are more positive and not so negative, uplifting and not beating your children down, I tell you, your family dynamic is so much better. So much better. That's when a father is setting the tone in their home. It can work. It has worked with me. Now, my all five of my sons are grown. This is this is the tipping point here. All of my sons are out there doing their own thing. Now, I know some of them do use profanity. They've told me that they use it, but not around me. When I'm talking to them, they steer clear of it. A couple of them actually censor themselves. Beep, beep, and a beep, beep, beep. I'm like, thank you, son, because I don't want to hear it. Well, I know, Father. That's why I had to bleep myself. Thank you. See, that's what I'm calling respect right there. They respect the fact that they have never heard me use any bad language and that I don't want to hear it. They probably heard me say that. I don't want to hear that. Sometimes I've turned the television station. I know I had to get used to them playing video games and some of the words. I understood. But I told them, you're going to play your video games, you're going to do a dabble in social media. But when you talk to me in my home, it is not welcome in my home from the beginning to the end. And I'm still here. So there's no end. No profanity. So it can be done. And I hope fathers are listening. But that starts with self discipline, Father. Self discipline, Father. Can you stop yourself from using bad language? Can you tame the tongue? Now, I've had lots of advice about this book, and they think it's very good and that it has a place for helping fathers be better. I listen, I take a lot of notes over the last couple of years about this book, and I've had several people tell me, your book is very close to having some Bible verses that are related to your topics. And I said, that's very nice. I had thought about it, but I really didn't want to have a Bible. But I told someone that, and they said, well, it might be a Bible that the Lord put on you. And I said, okay. I can handle that because sometimes I'm not in charge. I am following what the Lord says. So I just listen. And sometimes things come to me. And on this one, it found me. Taming the tongue. So I'm just going to recommend that you research James 3, verses 1 through 12, NLT. And I'm going to read a small section from that. Sometimes the tongue praises our Lord and our Father. And sometimes it curses those who have been made in the image of God. That says it all right there. Why would we fight with our own person? Because we were all made in the image of God. We should have more beautiful things to say about each other. And it's a test every day. Don't get me wrong now. It's a test every day. None of us are perfect. I am not perfect. But I am working on being the best father I can be on purpose. That means I have to have some self-discipline. I do not want to use any profanity, and I still don't. I have some good friends who love to cuss. I can listen to them for a little while. I don't stay on the phone with them long, but I let them do their thing, and it's okay. But they never hear me use a curse word. And I have, even in my own crazy mind, there are some words that are probably not profanity per se, but the way they were used when I was coming up, I don't use those either. And that really shocks my family. They're like, well, that's not a curse word. It is to me. Heffer. I can't even say it. But my mother used to say it. And I'm like, ooh, don't I don't use that word. That's been put in the profanity category. Yes. Pissed. That's been put in the profanity category. That's just me. Those are some of the words that I think are just devastating to use. And it's only used in a negative way. Now you understand? If it's used in a negative way, I got to cast it out. Can't use it. My brothers and sisters went crazy when I told Warren, you don't even use that. You don't even say Hell. I said, no, because it's really never used in a positive way. I don't want to say that word. I know it's not a curse word, but it's an evil word. And people use it in an evil way. That's just me. But I am surviving with my family because I'm consistent. And no wavering with it because I haven't practiced it. Nothing slips out. I practice the words I want to use. Are all of my words positive? Probably not. But there are some words you will never hear come out of my mouth. And my sons I don't even think they're waiting anymore. They already know. But the respect is very high. They never use profanity around me when they're talking to me. And I talk to each one of them all the time. Never happens. So I hope I was able to share some key information about fathers being better on purpose in their home, the impact that fathers have on their children through words, the impact that a father has on influencing the mother of those children by taming the tongue. I hope you can research James 3, verses 1 through 12, NLT, and listen to all of the ways that words are being used and how we can change the family dynamic by shaking the trees of tradition in your home and in your family. The ripple effect in my family is great. My brothers and sisters, just as old as I am, they still know no profanity. When we get together as a group, they are working so hard not to use profanity around me because I'm the oldest, and I know that has a lot to do with it, but the respect is there. And they're like, they're correcting each other. Don't talk like that. Warren's here. I was like, so, hey, you're not in my house, so you can use some profanity. That's okay. We know you. It's amazing. And it's beautiful. And I think my sons and my wife were shocked when we first had a get together, and my brothers and sisters were on guard. I said, I don't force it on them, but it was happening for many years. I was at home all the way up till I was 17. So my last curse word was 7 or 8. And I was big brother all the way till I was 17. Yeah, that's a long time to set the standard on who Warren Patten is, who Big Brother is, and now who the husband is and who the father is. It can be done. Father, I believe in you. You can change the environment that's happening in your home. You can do it, but you have to be steadfast. Got to be consistent, but you have to be the example of integrity, the example of character, the example of grace. Father Patten, I'm telling you, I'm excited about this episode. I hope you will join me. Remember also where you can get the book, Father Notes, Being a Better Father on Purpose, only from me on my website, www.warrenwpattenjr.com. It'll be an author signed copy. I just might give you a bookmark as well. So thank you so much for joining. Taming the tongue. You can do it. I have confidence that we can change this world one family at a time. Take care. Thanks for joining the Father Notes podcast. Please like, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel at Warren W. Patten Jr. That's Patten Jr. Follow our socials on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Father, make the choice to use your voice